This week we are back in Bangkok and I'm spending another 24 hours, this time in the heart of the city, in the Old Town. This part of the city is famous for so many reasons. You've probably heard of Khao San Road. Don't worry, we will be featuring that in this video. But to help me explore and learn even more about this area, we're going to be on foot as normal. We're going to be jumping on Zelda for a little bit as well. And I'll be joined by Bangkok Pat. He does incredible bespoke walking tours and I've borrowed him for a few hours so we can get to see some awesome places I hope none of you, including me, have ever seen. I'll feature the food, good cocktails, live music, and I've found a great hotel that I really want to recommend no matter what your budget is. So sit down and relax for another 24 hours in the best city in the world. I'm going to start on Khao San Road because I've got a very important story to share. The story of kind of why I started this 24-hour in Bangkok series to show you that there's more to this incredible city than just this one street, because for so many years, including when I first came to Thailand, I thought this was Bangkok. I thought everything outside of the street was just residential homes and God knows what else. It was just all a mystery to me. And so I thought Khao San was the only place. Back in 2008, when I wanted to go on my first big international trip, when I wanted to go further afield than just going to a resort with my family, I decided on Southeast Asia and I decided on coming to Thailand. And what I did was I bought every single Lonely Planet from the bookstore where I lived. And so I had the book for Thailand, the book for Laos, Cambodia, Indonesia, and even Vietnam. And I then bought another journal and a scalpel and some Pritt stick, and I cut out all of the important sections of the Lonely Planet and glued them into this journal so that the journal was in order of this itinerary that I'd come up with for me and my best mate Dave. Basically your typical Southeast Asia backpackers loop, right? Because back then there was no YouTube like travel vloggers, right? That didn't exist. So the first night I arrived, me and my buddy, we got off the plane, jet lagged, tired, but excited. And immediately we got scammed by a taxi driver. Back at Suvarnabhumi airport, they didn't regulate the taxis like they do now. And there was some man with a laminated piece of paper and he pointed to, you know, different areas of Bangkok. We told him that we wanted to go Khao San Road. And he only charged us 2,000 baht for the privilege to take us to Khao San Road. 16 years later, it would only cost you around about 500 baht. So we got scammed straight away. And on the way, he told us that Khao San Road was unreachable because of a protest. There was no protest, but this is what he told us. And he took us to Nana Plaza and he took us to his friend's hotel for us to stay and to feel safe. But we, at the time, didn't realize that he was lying and he was just sending us to his friend's hotel where he probably made commission. So we got scammed straight away and then we got taken to a hotel in a different part of the city that we didn't want to go to, but we had to just go with it because we didn't know any better. That night we ended up having a crazy, crazy night out. We got super drunk, we ate some dodgy street food and we woke up the next morning feeling really hungover and we had food poisoning. We checked out of where we were, took a taxi to Khao San and we checked into the Khao San Palace, which is this hotel right in the middle of the street. And we were so hungover and I was throwing up and I had diarrhea and I was really not feeling it. But we mustered up a little bit of energy and we came along this street looking for some fun, and a tuk-tuk driver, you know, beckoned us over and he said, "Where do you want to go? I'll take you to this palace, I'll take you here, I'll take you there, and I'll only charge you 20 baht for the privilege." And I thought, wow, that's so good, that's like less than 50 pence. So we signed up and we got in the tuk-tuk and we drove around for like 3 hours, and he took us to suit shops where we were pressured to buy things. He took us to gem stores where we were pressured to buy things, gold stores, and God knows where else. And it was just a really stressful experience. So being incredibly hungover, having food poisoning, and spending 4 hours in a tuk-tuk getting scammed left, right and center, getting scammed at the airport by the taxi drivers and having a crazy, crazy experience in the evening. around Nana Plaza. That's a whole different story. I remember coming over to this bar across from where I'm at now. It's called Lucky Beer, and I sat down and I nearly started crying. I nearly started crying because I'd bigged up this trip to everyone back home. I'd spent months planning it, months saving up for it, and I was so excited to have a great time, a life-changing experience. And within 24 hours, I was desperately trying to figure out a way of going home, of calling it quits, getting back on the next flight to England, and I was trying to think of an excuse. How can I make up, a lie that will tell people back home that I had to come home for some reason, and it wasn't because I was hating it, and that it didn't live up to what I thought this place was going to be. That night, we had a few more beers, and we met a few more backpackers, and we changed our travel itinerary to go with this new group of people that we met on Khao San Road. We became best friends forever. We traveled around northern Thailand, went into Laos, went into Cambodia, went into Vietnam, even worked in a bar together in Malaysia. And I think about 7 or 8 weeks of the most incredible experience of my life, I finally went back to the UK. But I just remember that first 24 hours in Bangkok with the scams, the food poisoning, the hungover, just not knowing anything about this city and about this country really at the time. It made me think, in 2024, there's probably someone somewhere watching this video going through the same existential crisis. You might be thinking, oh my God, I've come all this way, I've spent all this money, I've made all these plans, and I hate it. And it's not because you're on Khao San Road. You could be anywhere. You could have landed in Phuket, you could have landed in Vietnam, you could have landed in Phnom Penh. Wherever you are, if you're having a bad time, just remember, you have good days, you have bad days. After that bad day, everything got better. I made friends, I moved around, I learned more, I saw more. Okie dokie, I thought we could begin with a little bit of lunch, and not just any lunch, but probably one of the most delicious places you can get food in this area of Bangkok. I've gone for 3 different dishes over rice, and it cost me 150 Thai baht. I went for the salt and chili crab meat, which is really succulent, big juicy clumps of crab claw meat. I also went for the prawns. They just seem to be fried in a little bit of chili and a bit of butter. And then I went for the sweet pork. It's fatty and very, very sweet. So I've cut that with some of the soy sauce with chili and garlic, the super spicy seafood dip that you can get here in Thailand. This will be a fantastic lunch. Oh my God. If you like honey glazed pork, this is so sweet, this is so delicious. And then you've got that spicy, freshly cut chili and soy sauce dip on top, just to cut that sweetness. Absolutely incredible. What a great start to the day. We can explore, we can walk around for hours, knowing that our belly is just full of so much nutritional goodness from the ocean. And as well as a little bit of pork as well. I'll tell you what I'll do whilst I'm here, because I'm on my way to my accommodation. If you've ever wondered what this red gate thing is behind me, right? Believe it or not, this actually used to be a working swing where people would swing, obviously, really difficult and high swing, in order to try and reach a bag of money, a bag of coins or a bag of notes during a very famous Buddhist festival. And they built this in the middle of the city to mark the center of Bangkok with this structure, with this swing, and they actively used it. However, they had so many accidents and fatalities whilst people were doing the festival and swinging up and down that they ended up just cancelling the whole swinging thing because it was very dangerous. But anyway, just a little side note, little thing there. I'm sure you've seen this. It's near Khao San Road. We're nearly at the hotel. But yeah, if you were wondering what that is, that's what it is. Okie dokie, welcome to my hotel. I hope you're going to like this place because I thought that you would absolutely love it, and this is the reason why I wanted to stay here. Number one, it's within walking distance to everything that we're going to be doing for the rest of this video and exploring the Old Town. We are 5 minutes from Khao San Road, 5 minutes from the river, and 5 minutes from, well, everything that you'll see later in this video. It's also extremely affordable and good value in my opinion. Now, I do have the most expensive room, okay? This cost me 4,090 Thai baht for one night, but that's because we are in the King's Suite. So there's one room here that there's a big, generous sofa actually. You can really lay down and chill out and put on some Netflix and watch your favorite show because there's a plasma screen here, smart TV. And then in the bedroom, it's huge king size bed. But as you can clearly see, huge bedroom, and just behind the bed actually are 2 sinks. So this is perfect for a couple or, you know, romantic getaway. So there is a balcony, and out here, there is the bathtub, which you can fill up and be as romantic as you want. And you even have a blind for privacy. Another reason why I decided to choose this hotel, guys, is they have a swimming pool. And right now, a lot of the travelers and backpackers are enjoying the sun, enjoying a gorgeous afternoon here in an older building, but they've actually rejuvenated it quite nicely. There's parking here as well. I've got Zelda parked up nicely. You can actually stay in a dorm room here. That's one of the other reasons why I chose this place, because in the other building they have dorm rooms that you can stay at for as little as 500 baht per night. Hello, hello.
Complimentary.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. You can put it on the table. So they've given me something to apologize because I wasn't able to check in on time. Check-in time was supposed to be 2 o'clock. I got here at 2:30 and the room wasn't ready until just 5 minutes ago, right? So nearly 45 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes late. I'm not bothered, but they wanted to say sorry. So they offered me a late checkout and some kind of, what is this, like an afternoon tea selection. We've got brownies, cookies, which I can't eat because I'm on a diet. Some sugary things, they look delicious, but I can't eat them. We've got some jars with fish. Okie dokie, what I thought I would do while I have this cup of tea, cool down a little bit in the aircon before we go out and explore loads more of this area of the city. Quick mention to NordVPN. They are the incredible sponsors of this video and perfect if you're coming to Bangkok or to Thailand or anywhere this summer, because you're going to need a VPN for so many different reasons, right? VPNs allow you to unlock cheaper flights, cheaper hotel prices, because airlines typically will charge you more money if you're searching in your home country than if you're searching somewhere else. This is just something that NordVPN can help you get around by switching your location to a more favorable one. In doing that, you can also unlock some programs or TV shows or movies on Netflix and other streaming platforms that you might not get here in Thailand that you did back home. VPNs are also really important to stay safe when you're using public Wi-Fi. You don't have to worry about someone downstairs who is a hacker trying to steal your information because you're using the same public Wi-Fi. And there's never been a better time to use NordVPN, because any purchase of a 2-year plan, you will receive 4 bonus months on top. This particular deal is exclusive to YouTube channels like mine who are working with NordVPN. This isn't found anywhere else online. So if you do want 4 extra months for free using NordVPN, then click the link in the description below, thanks to NordVPN. And I think we're ready to leave and go meet someone to sort of learn and explore a lot more in depth this beautiful part of the city, which I feel like a lot of people, including myself, don't know enough about. When it comes to exploring Bangkok in these 24-hour deep dives, I don't really deep dive. It's only 24 hours, right? If we're going to be using the metaphor of the ocean depth as a level of how far we are exploring the area, we're simply splashing on the surface in comparison to my friend Pat, who I'm going to introduce you to in a moment. I'm just here at the pier. He's coming down to meet me and he's going to help me explore for the next few hours and take me to 3 really interesting places that he promises that I won't have known or seen before, and that tell a really interesting story. Bangkok Pat has not only an incredible YouTube channel where he deep dives into seemingly every nook and cranny of this city, whether it's in Sukhumvit, whether it's in the Old Town, Chinatown, anywhere, he can go back in time and tell you really interesting stories about the airports, about the railways. If you really want to get lost in the knowledge and the history and the fascinating things about this city, then not only should you head over to Bangkok Pat's channel, but also his Facebook page, because that's where you can book him for him to take you on a walking tour. I think you just let him know what part of the city you're interested in, and he'll walk you around and give you a tour.
Shot a video with Rob, he complained I walk too fast. And I do sometimes, because I'm used to being alone filming. Yeah.
Okie dokie, here he is, the handsome Bangkok Pat himself.
Cheers, Paddy.
Just a quick question while we are here, just before we start. Why is the old town of Bangkok so underdeveloped compared to somewhere like Sukhumvit, which is where I live?
Well, this is where Bangkok originated, where it was first built. The area around the Grand Palace, all that. In the general area of the old town, within the limits of the 3 moats, there's a law that says any development has to blend in with the local area, and it can't be more than 8 floors.
That explains it.
Yeah. So it's a good law to have, because as soon as you leave like the Sukhumvit and the modern area, and you see all this, it's like, oh, I didn't know it was like this. This is really, really nice.
Absolutely. Right then, let's go to the first spot. I'm excited to see where we're going. Right, this isn't actually part of the tour, but Pat's just told me something very interesting about this building. What is it?
Well, this building, as it is now, is an old palace that belonged to a prince. He was gay, and he very much loved theatre and the arts. And he built part of it into the first ever drag theatre, public drag theatre in Thailand in the 19th century, like the second third of the 19th century. So that's where your first sort of guys dressing up in women's clothing would have strutted their stuff on stage.
You can still hear the echoes of "Hello, welcome."
Yeah. All right, Paddy, this is an interesting spot because we're literally a couple of 100 metres from the Grand Palace, just up there. And that's where all the tourists tend to sort of stick to. You know, your Wat Po, Temple of the Emerald Buddha. And if they just strayed off the tourist path a little bit, they'd see places like this. Behind me, this is a architecturally famous old building. It was built in 1931 by a company that made, I believe, like Indian saris and Persian clothes out of silk. And that was the company name, who were established in 1896. And then if you walk further down, you get to the giant swing and everything. So there's a lot of historic buildings and stuff that's just nice to look at, you know, because I always moan that tourists never stray off the beaten path. And I think this is a classic case there because there's just so much to see down here. And then there's a temple, I'll show you in a minute, which has probably a more impressive history than any of the ones up the road that people pay big money to get into. So this temple is a couple of 100 metres away from the sort of tourist temples up the road. It's slightly off the tourist beaten path and no one comes here. Yet historically it is just as interesting as the ones where people go to. It's called Wat Ratchabophit and it's got the royal cemetery on the other side, which is all the memorials of the royal family members who have passed on. But it's one of the most how can I say, it's one of the most beautiful temples in Bangkok, put it that way. When you're traveling to Bangkok for the first time and you're only here 3 or 4 days, you want to stick to where you know. So finding this place would be a lot to ask for someone new to Bangkok. This is one of the places I take people if they come on a walking tour and we're passing through the Old Town and they say, oh, what are the nicest temples? We'll cut through here. Yeah, this is one.
Yes, it was a gorgeous temple, one I'd seen as I'd driven around before but never gone inside, and to learn just how important it really is and how gorgeous it feels to walk around the grounds. I was very happy that Pat took us in here, and the cemetery in the back of the temple where all of the monuments to past members of the royal family are laid to rest, it really was beautiful. And we grabbed a really delicious handmade coffee by this gentleman down some random alleyway, and then it was time to visit the last spot in this mini walking tour with Pat, and he knows me very well, so he chose to take me to a park. Okay, we've survived the rain dump, and we've come to a park, and not just any old park, but a very interesting one. I had no idea it was here.
These are the old prison watchtowers. This park was Klong Prem prison up until the early 90s, and then they moved to somewhere on the suburbs, but they've still got the cell blocks over here. Oh, really? And the original buildings were based on Brixton Prison in South London.
Wow. And did the prisoners have all of this beautiful green space to enjoy back in the day?
I'm sure they would have had small pockets of it for exercise, but it's now a place where people jog. They got the noisy aerobics. And there's weights, there's a gym for 100 baht a month around there. But yeah, it's an odd place to put a prison. And when I was reading up on it, it was always very overcrowded.
I honestly didn't have a single clue that inside the heart of the old town was a park, and I was really thankful to learn and to walk around it with Pat. A fun fact about Pat is he always carries cat food with him. He has a soft spot for the felines, and so whenever we see any stray cats, he always has a bag or two of yummy cat food for them to feast on. Okay, Pat, thank you so much for that little mini walking tour. I got to see some places I've never even knew about or experienced before, so that was really cool. I really liked the prison park. That was really up my street.
Absolute pleasure.
I've got to nip back on Zelda and take these guys to a few evening spots, like where to get a beer near Khao San Road. If Khao San Road's a bit too busy or it's not really your vibe, I've got some really good places for you, so stay tuned for that. But thanks again. And how can people reach you and get on a tour or?
Facebook or any video of mine, there's a link underneath, or email.
Yeah, and it's not just
line.
It's not just the old city, is it? They can go. I mean, I've seen you actually do walking tours over in RE in the newer part.
People give me ideas where they want to go, what they want to see, anywhere in Bangkok. Yeah, and then I piece together something.
Get in touch with him if you want to see this city from a different perspective and actually learn something.
I've got to say, I'm sorry I was late. I was arguing online with a troll, and do you know what he said?
What did he say?
He said Paddy Doyle supports a crap football team, and he didn't realise I support the same team. So I was back and forth with him for about an hour, and it made me late.
We are back on Khao San Road. If you watch the intro, the sort of opening monologue, as it were, this is where I was. I've now ordered some ice because the beer does not stay very cold for very long in the tropics. I recently came here to enjoy my friend doing stand-up comedy. There is a stand-up comedy club on Khao San Road, which is a really great place to go, but it's down the alleyway, really hard to find unless you see people flyering on the street. But I will leave it in the description because I think it's a great place to go on Khao San Road to get away from everything. But when this show finished and we came down here in the evening, it's just unbearable. It's literally incomprehensible how you can actually sit down and have a drink on this street in the late evening time, because every bar is blasting music so loud. But after a long walk with Bangkok Pat today, and just, you know, making a video about the Old Town and obviously highlighting Khao San, I can't not show you Khao San Road and talk about my experience here and why I love it, and also why sometimes I hate it. But overall, it's still somewhere I think you should come and have a little look. But what happens if you don't really feel the vibe on Khao San Road and you want to get away from the crowds and the really loud music? Well, don't worry, I'm going to show you a few spots that are within walking distance that I think you would really like. The first one is Soi Ram Buttri. This is just one street away from Khao San Road, but what a difference a street can make. Instead of it being lined with street sellers and people trying to sell you things and beckon you into bars, it's lined with trees and birds and squirrels and lanterns in the sky, and it's a really calm, peaceful street. Of course, you can still get a good drink down here, cocktails, beers, live music, but more acoustic based, and a few cafes and a few restaurants and a few hotels that you can get away from the madness. If you keep going, you'll head towards the river, and I've got a spot for you that I think you'll really like, especially if you like sunsets and craft beer. 5-minute walk down Ram Buttri, and you keep going through a little alleyway, you'll get spat out at this little line of bars and restaurants actually here on the river. It's absolutely gorgeous, especially in the afternoon sun as the sun's going down. It is really truly stunning. There is a place that I recommend you come called Sheepshank. It's a craft beer place. I've just ordered and had a delicious peach pale ale. It was tangy, it was fruity, it was sour, it was great. But as you can see, there are a few trendy restaurants, a few cocktail bars, as well as Sheepshank right behind me here. Good place to get away from everything if Khao San is too busy and Ram Buttri is a bit quiet. Here's a spot I bet you never knew about. Down by Khao San is this little park. It's quite small, but it's on the river, and this is where the locals come to fly kites, play badminton, sit in the shade, especially in the afternoon. It's quite family friendly, and it's a good date spot as well. If anyone is in Bangkok and you are on Tinder and you match with a backpacker and you want to impress someone, bring them here. It might just open their eyes to a new part of Bangkok, and you might just look really cool, because it's kind of unbeknownst to me until I just stumbled across this along the Klong. And there is a beautiful white fort or some kind of military installation. It's very beautiful, completely free to enter this park and enjoy the shade, a little bit of local lifestyle amongst the touristy craziness of this area. A great little find. Yeah, that park was, for me, the biggest surprise of my entire filming process for this video. I had no idea it was there. But then I jumped on a grab and headed to a rooftop bar that I heard was fantastic. Lots of stairs to get up there, but I promise you, it will be worth it. Well, I think it's safe to say that this is one of the best finds that I've done on this series in a bloody long time. A rooftop bar with a view like this in Bangkok is almost impossible. And the beer prices and the selection is just incredible. And I've ordered some delicious lab mu thod, which is the view from this bar might not be the highest in the city, but my gosh, it's got to be one of the most beautiful. And I really enjoyed watching the sunset and the afternoon turn into evening over a few cold beers and some delicious lab mu thod. Around 8 PM, I decided to get a grab back over to Khao San Road area, but instead of hitting the strip, I went to a nearby blues bar where, as you can imagine, they have live blues, good cocktails, and one of my favourite bars in the city now. If you want to know where it is, just check the description along with all of the locations that I have featured in this video so far, as usual.
But yeah, this blues bar, fabulous. Great spot to bring someone. And if you're on that date after that little sunset afternoon stroll in the park, bring them here. I promise they'll be very impressed.
Had a great evening last night. It was an early night for me though. I think I was in bed by 9. A couple of beers in the day normally sees me off nice and early, to be honest, these days. And I have come for a really authentic Thai breakfast dish. The hotel that I'm staying at does include breakfast, guys. It does include breakfast, but you know, bacon, eggs, and processed meat sausages aside, I thought I would go for something a little bit more authentic and certainly more delicious. So just around the corner from the hotel, and actually a stone's throw from the white fort that we were at earlier in the video, is this place. It's called Braised Beef Nai Soie, which is obviously a recommendation from my good friend Gary, the roaming cook. And he recommended me this place because it's got beef short rib noodle soup with Chinese spices and garlic and pak choy. That beef literally just falls apart in your mouth. 10 out of 10. Thank you, Gary. I thought I'd finish the video in, I think, my favorite spot from this entire exploration of the old city, and that's this little fort park here. Very rare in Bangkok that you get such a gorgeous breeze, a fantastic view of the river, and a gorgeous park with birds, grass, and a beautiful historical fort in the background. Really quite stunning, especially in the early morning light. I want to say a big thank you to you for watching, and I hope that I've shown you some great spots to eat, drink, hang out, and explore here in the heart of Bangkok, right near and around Khao San Road. If you're brand new and you're watching this and you've enjoyed it, please like the video. And if you want to learn more about Thailand and other areas of Bangkok, as well as watch amazing adventures around the world, subscribe to this channel and get lost in the content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video next week from Kanchanaburi, where we're going on a road trip on Zelda.